For Monday, September 9th, 2024. If I can please have the city clerk call the roll.
Present.
Commissioner Caldwell.
Here.
Commissioner Harriet. Commissioner McCool. Here. Commissioner Shimkus. Vice Mayor Jody Lee.
Here.
Mayor Vila.
Here. This time, if we can please stand for the pledge, and I have Vice Mayor Jody Lee lead us in the pledge, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. At this time, we're going to go ahead and start with Business Section B, which is a presentation by Keith Norden, President and CEO of Team Volusia Economic Development Corporation. So, Norden, how are you?
I appreciate the opportunity to update the City Commission. I'd like to just introduce a few folks that are with me this evening. Pat Northey is our former Executive Committee member, and then Tracy Marino is our Director of Marketing and Communications. And then behind Tracy is Dwight Durant, who is a founding investor of Team Volusia and a former chair. And you've seen Dwight here before when I presented. We've had an exciting year since we last updated you. Keep in mind you all receive quarterly reports as one of our municipal partners. So we keep you up to date regularly. But I wanted to remind you that we are the official public-private partnership economic development organization for Volusia County. So we have cooperative agreements with 15 of our 16 municipalities and also the County of Volusia. They outsource their project management and their lead generation to Team Volusia. So, you know, if some of the municipalities don't have an economic developer, many do, but in those cases where you don't have an economic development director or an office, we can, of course, fill in for those cities without one. And then the ones that do have professionals, we do the recruitment for those municipalities. So we were formed in 2010. And we have over 80 private sector partners. I just wanted to mention that our primary mission is business recruitment and lead generation. So we go out and recruit and go out and raise the visibility of Volusia County as a business destination. We have many mixed messages. The county is a great place for tourism, wonderful trails, wonderful beaches, great for auto racing, but if you are trying to recruit business, you really need to have that business message. So we do the recruitment, but we also do the marketing for business. And Tracy will talk to you a little bit about the messaging we do for our raising the visibility as a business destination, and also to recruit talent to the area. We have all 6 colleges and universities are at the table with us, and then I'm very proud to say that we were accredited by the International Economic Development Council, one of 81 in North America, including Canada, Mexico, and the United States. Just a brief, you've had the opportunity to review this. Just to run down our officers, we have the county manager as an officer, as well as Joyce Shanahan, the city manager of Ormond Beach, and Michael Ployce for the city of Deltona, and then private sector leadership that we're very proud of. A small but mighty staff. You've had the opportunity, you'll hear from Tracy in a few minutes, but we also have Tawan Arrington that's actually on the road tonight and this week at a large manufacturing trade show in Chicago, as well as our other folks. we have several platforms that are important to our communities that we represent. We do the outreach recruitment, we do the marketing, and we'll share that with you. Also, a number of community partnerships to build relationships, and with the colleges, universities, the hospital systems, the banks, and the rest. And then also competitive intelligence. We have all the software where we can utilize competitive intelligence. For instance, we recently worked on the Boeing defense deal with Embry-Riddle, and we did the research that was needed for that company to make the decision to come to Volusia County. Collaborative environment. No one organization is ever located. You've heard me talk about that. No one organization has ever brought a project to town solely. It's the group of people, whether it's the Volusia County Division of Economic Development or the colleges and universities, the chambers of commerce. We work all together, including the state organization Florida Commerce and Select Florida. We have the relationship with the state entity. Many of the larger projects come in through the governor's office and are fed through the county to us. Just a snapshot of our private sector investors. Very, very proud of these folks that allow us to do the recruitment. As a reminder, the public money that comes in pays for operations, our rent, salaries, and other operational activities. Everything else is paid for by the private sector, including the strategic plans, the recruitment, and the rest. Our site and building database is paid for by the private sector. So it's a great leveraging of public monies with private monies, and they're all kept very separate. This is just a snapshot of the accreditation event when the president of IEDC came and presented the information and the certification to us. And then we're really proud of this, the Team Volusia 2030, that's our 5-year strategic plan that was recently done by Boyette Strategic Advisors. They came in and looked at the area, interviewed about 120 people, and interviewed a lot of the elected officials by surveys, but also the public and private sector. And they whittled down through their interviews and investigation of the area 7 targets that we should look after. 5 of them we had originally looked after, but 2 are new, and they're finance, insurance, and information technology. So I'll go in. You've had a chance to review this. I want to leave plenty of time for questions. Advanced manufacturing, you can see we have over 450 manufacturers here in the greater Daytona area of Volusia County, with almost 12,000 people employed in manufacturing, with a 10% historic growth. So you can see the wages with manufacturing. This would apply to small to medium-sized manufacturers. They don't have to be huge, but wages around $78,000. So excited about that. We have a lot of assets to attract these manufacturers. Aerospace and aviation, as you know, Orlando, Melbourne, and Daytona Beach is the space triangle. So Deltona is very much included in that. And so aviation, aerospace is a very important target to us because of what we have here with Embry-Riddle and UCF. UCF was developed and organized to provide engineers for Kennedy Space Center. So great target. You can see the incomes, 80,000 average wages. Over 1,900 people are employed in aviation aerospace, and it's an excellent target just because of our geographic location next to Orlando with modeling and simulation, and then the Space Coast with everything happening at Kennedy Space Center. Corporate regional headquarters, as you know, we're very proud of the headquarters we have here, including Kingspan, Spartan, and others. So definitely a facet that we are going after. We've got a lot of assets available for regional headquarters. You can look at the earnings of the average wages for these headquarters in Volusia County, $152,000 a year, over 1,700 jobs in the headquarters, with a 15% projected growth in this sector. Finance and insurance is one of the new targets that was identified, and that's based on our 3 large insurance companies here, headquartered here in Volusia County, including Brown & Brown, Foundation Risk Partners, and Security First. We have 3 very large companies, and with over 5,000 people employed here locally. Projected growth is 6% in this sector, and with average wages at $100,000 per year. Information technology as well, 1,200 jobs in the sector. This is a new target, one of the 2 new ones, and we're excited about this. We have shown sites for these type of projects here locally as well as throughout the county. 1,200 jobs in information technology with a 20% projected growth in the sector, and average wages $110,000. Life sciences, of course, with the colleges and universities, it makes sense with B. Braun, DeVita, Command Medical, and Cardinal Health. 2,100 jobs so far in Volusia County with a 7% projected growth in life sciences. And as you know, we were successful at locating B. Braun. That is the largest family-owned pharmaceutical firm in the world, and we have a branch of it in Daytona Beach, growing and expanding with about $400 million of capital investment, full of German robotics, and we're very proud of that company, so that it will bring, when you have names like that, it can bring other successes to the area. Keep in mind, these are large. B. Braun is large, but any of these companies can be small to medium size. They could be drawn with the wonderful healthcare facilities you have here in Deltona with Halifax Health and others. So this is a great sector for the city of Deltona. Logistics, these are cold storage facilities and logistics services. Over 720 are employed in logistics services. Those are not the jobs at the Amazon fulfillment centers in the area. These are the jobs that are actually transferring the product. So they're not the warehouse jobs. 384% historic growth of logistics services, and incomes at $90,000 per year. And so those are our 7 targets, and we're really excited about the fact that these have been validated and have been, will chart the direction for the next 5 years as far as our recruitment efforts. As you know, the municipalities and the county fund us to do the outreach. The outreach is designed to raise the visibility of our community. Again, these are very targeted in our targeted industries, which have been adopted and accepted by the executive committee, but focus on aviation, aerospace, space. Spacecom is a trade show that we exhibit in the Orange County Convention Center. It's a nationally acclaimed show, and it allows the local practitioners to go and market their respective communities. And in years past, the city of Deltona has participated in that when you had an economic developer. We also participate knowing that retail is of interest to many of our municipalities. That is not a traditional target for economic development organizations around the country, but it is important to some of our communities. So we recently exhibited at ICSC in Orlando. We had 5 local practitioners attend the show, and I believe your past economic developer went with us several years and did recruit a few restaurants that are here in the area from that show. But again, building relationships with corporate end users and building relationships with site selectors. Site selectors are hired by larger companies to validate where companies should expand. They either validate the communities or either suggest communities. So it's very important for us to build those relationships. The whole purpose is for us to get leads directly to us so that we can spread them out amongst the community. And these are just a few snapshots of the shows that we participate in. You can see SpaceCom there, and as well as ICSC that occurred August 25th to 27th. We hosted the new Florida Secretary of Commerce, Alex Kelly, recently, who toured around the county to see some of our assets. And then all that we do is metriced, so we're very proud of these metrics. These are for the first half of the year, 260 outreach meetings. These are from our outreach activities. These are not casual handshakes. These are pre-scheduled meetings where we have a topic. We usually have a package on Volusia County, and we meet with these folks and interest them in Volusia County and invite them to visit, because it's hard for us to describe what we're all about without them kicking the dirt. Many do visit, and then we also have metrics for the site visits and also outreach events. But I've divided the presentation into 2 parts. This is more general about the organization, and then later I'm going to have Tracy speak about marketing, and then we'll go into data respective to the city of Deltona. This is our project sales funnel. You can see stage 1, we have 44 active projects. Considering the area, stage 2, we've had numerous conversations. They are interested in the county. Stage 3, they visited really more than once. Stage 2, they visited. Stage 3, they visited more than once. Stage 4, they're in negotiations. And stage 5, they've actually announced for the area. So very proud of what we've done this past year. Of course, Boeing Defense is the most striking announcement that has put us on the map for aviation aerospace projects. We have Mastermind Mushrooms in New Smyrna Beach, and Vortil Systems, which is a Brazilian company that we actually hosted last year and is located here this year. We have done trade missions to Brazil, and this is a result of those trade missions. Brazilians are very interested in Florida investment. We have great air service into the Orlando International Airport direct from Brazil, so it makes it a site and a destination that is interesting to Brazilians generally. So total impact, total economic impact, $625 million, and very proud of that so far. These are some projects we're working on. La Traque, you may have read in the paper, this is a French aviation company we've been working with for 2 years. They've shortlisted Florida. We're one of 2 counties being considered, and we should have a decision by the end of the year, early next year. A $200 million capital investment, 1,009 jobs, and average wage of $72,000 in the aviation aerospace. Several other projects are here. You've had time to review these, but these are all considering Volusia County sites. And now I'd like to have Tracy Marino step up to the podium and just give you a brief overview of marketing, and then we'll go into the more specific Deltona information. Tracy?
Thank you, Keith. Thank you for hosting us in this workshop. I wanted to just do a few highlights about the marketing. Keith mentioned our main engine, of course, is business recruitment, but he also brought in the fact that we have some initiatives that handle talent recruitment. So because that's not necessarily as well known, I thought I'd take a moment to start with that. For several years, we've done a partnership with Livability. That's a lifestyle magazine that gets distributed across the county. We work with them very closely on content and outline, and then we review when things are written out. We look at photos, all of that. So we have editorial oversight with it. It gets handed out across the county, and then it also is put in site visit kits. Many of our marketing materials have that dual life. It may be a print ad, or it may be something that we partner with, like Livability, and it gets distributed, and then it gets put in site visit kits. So that's always important to have that duality. A new initiative with talent was spearheaded by FPL. So Florida Power and Light looked statewide to see that there was a need for more talent recruitment. And when we look at business recruitment, we're really looking at living and working here, right? So for families that may have a job in one part of the county but live in another, all of that matters. We want parents, we want families to have the highest paying jobs they can get. We want them to have that ability to do what they can for their family. That's always important, right? So we're thinking of all of those, from the big companies down to the people that are working there, no matter where in the county they live, where they work. So we partnered with FPL and had a lot of input on the content. It was really great. Last summer we worked on this. We are the only county that has its own microsite that was developed specifically for this initiative. There are a couple of other counties that have their own talent recruitment sites, but those were pre-existing. So we were honored to have them come to us and say, you're selected to just have a microsite on Volusia. It's called Life in Volusia FL. So this is part of the Wonderful campaign, the Wonderful FL campaign. So that's a little bit on the talent recruitment. Florida Trend. Florida Trend is every 3 years we do a special business insert. It's over 10 pages. It'll depend on the content and the advertising that gets developed. This, again, has that duality of life. We hand it out in site visit kits for 3 years. It gets distributed across Florida, of course, through Florida Trend, but it's a separate standalone business insert that can be used on its own. We're working with them now on that. We hosted some luncheons and a dinner with them several weeks ago now with their reporter, so that they could ask questions, hear about what mattered here. So that was a very good experience to go through that with them from the ground up. Now they're in the process of preparing those materials, and then it'll be in the November issue of Florida Trend. We do a little more advertising, regional advertising in Evolve, and we do some banner ads on their newsletter. As of right now, partly because of Florida Trend, we're not doing any big print ads in some of the industry magazines. We weigh that on a year-by-year basis because the return on investment for those bigger splashes, unless we can have multiple ads, it may not be cost efficient for us. So this year, knowing we had the Florida Trend, that's where we shifted some of the marketing dollars in terms of brand advertising, print advertising, knowing it was an editorial piece that would be able to educate folks on what it was like to live and work here. Marketing materials, we have industry outreach flyers. When Keith and the team, when they're out at these outreach events, we went from years ago having multi-page booklets that were done at a print house. Now we find it's more efficient to do a double-sided, just 8.5 by 11. We call it a flyer. Those get customized. They have information that gets updated about different jobs in the community, different the numbers of folks in those jobs, the percentage of growth, the salaries. So on a periodic basis, we'll update those numbers so that they have a talking piece and a leave behind for all those meetings and even just working trade show floors, whether we have a booth or not. It's something to hand out. Social media, of course, everybody is doing social media. We have different audiences. Part of the audience is right here in this room and in the community, right, is all the folks here. So we find that social media is great for that too. We want to share events and promote events by our municipalities and different partners in town. Last thing I wanted to mention was just a couple of the highlights from digital metrics. We shared this at a Volusia County Council meeting in August. Basically what these numbers say is that comparing first half to 2023 as a whole, we're either on pace to meet those same numbers or we were already exceeding those metrics in the first half. So we're tracking at par or better or increasing our numbers for our different social media metrics from year over year as of right now. And that's our marketing overview. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. And now I just wanted to show the demographic profile. This is on our website. We're very proud of Deltona with its median age. It's the lowest in the county, which is great when we're attracting talent. We have the population. You're the largest populated city, of course. Very, very proud of that. And you can see your key industries as well, and employment by industry. But again, it's a great demographic, and we are excited to, again, always market Deltona, our largest populated city. Just to give you an overview of some of the things we've done, really about product development. Product is very important. If there's not a place to put a new industry, not a building, not a site, it's very hard for them to consider a city. So starting in 2013, we hired Boyette Strategic Advisors to do a West Volusia County site assessment, both the I-4 Commerce Park and the Howland Boulevard and 415 site. And then very shortly thereafter, we worked with Duke Energy, who funded a site certification through McCallum Sweeney, one of the best firms in the country, to do site certification on the Deltona Commerce Park. That was 3 sites put together with 3 owners, but I can remember when Mark Sweeney got out of his automobile in the parking lot out here to come and address the Deltona City Commission. Mark got out of the vehicle and said, "This is the highest, driest site that I've ever certified in Florida." So you should be proud of the site that Amazon sits on today. But that was site work done by Duke Energy. Very shortly thereafter, Duke included a substation very close to the site. And then our staff was asked by a former city manager to do a site analysis of possible future uses for 22 sites in Deltona. It was a 63-page report that was given to the city commission. Then in 2019, we hired Quest Site Solutions to do site readiness program throughout Volusia County. And of course, the site was all also several sites in Deltona were in that site readiness program. And the portfolio assessment was done in 2020. And then we hired Vision First Advisors, former Secretary of Commerce Gray Swope, to do a strategic assessment of Volusia County, including the city of Deltona. So these are the things we really developed to try to see what product you have and how we can market the product. Just the focus for Deltona, we're going to continue to promote the city through our business recruitment efforts, really focusing on the 2030 Team Volusia targeted sectors, focusing on the I-4 Logistics Park, identifying prospects and working with developers and landowners. And also, we're going to assist Deltona, we're going to continue to assist Deltona with life science health related opportunities and leads. We do two very large trade shows, MD&M West and Medica, the largest trade show for pharmaceutical medical devices in the world. And then we also will continue to exhibit at ICSC, Florida. We have several prospects from that show, and we will continue focusing on Deltona for outreach, retail, and family entertainment. Just a brief snapshot of projects that we're proud of. Of course, Amazon Project Rooster is the latest 1 million square foot facility, CapEx of $50 million, 350 jobs projected. Amazon Fulfillment Center, that's the first fulfillment center in the county, 2019. Amazon was first approached in 2013 and met with quarterly after that. And thank goodness the site came available, and they located their first fulfillment center there. 1.3 million square feet, 100 million capital investment. They have published 500 jobs, but I understand it's more than 1,000. And then Halifax, while we didn't recruit Halifax, we produced the marketing materials that the city used to attract Halifax here. And we created a healthcare medical services approach that your former city staff used to recruit Halifax and other medical-related projects to the area. So the snapshot of Deltona active projects, those are the stage 1 through 5 projects where Deltona was actually submitted, and they're actually considering sites in Deltona. So 15 in stage 1 out of 44 projects, 3 out of 14 stage 2, 2 out of 7 in stage 3, 1 out of 5 in stage 4 that are in negotiation. And then since 2019, we have submitted proposals with Deltona sites. Over 40 projects have been submitted. These are projects currently in stage 1, only consideration that Deltona has been submitted to the company. So there are 6 there, various targets: distribution, logistics, advanced manufacturing, and life sciences and information technology. And you've had a chance to review all these. Cap investment, $35 million, $25 million, all the way up to $100 and $150 million with many jobs. And then very, very proud of the last 10 years for the organization. 54 projects established since 2013 with a capital investment of almost $1 billion, and the total economic impact for the region is over $2 billion. Keep in mind, if a company locates like a Boeing Defense in Daytona at the Embry-Riddle campus. There are 400 jobs associated with that, earning $120,000 average. Some of those people will be living in Deltona. Some of those people will be purchasing groceries and buying gas. We would think that Deltona is a great residential community for those people, and there will be spin-off jobs from some of these other projects. So manufacturing is very important in research and development because they do produce spin-off companies. Look at the almost 30 to 40 companies that we have here in Volusia County that actually support the space industry, and they're spread all over the county. So while perhaps you may not have Boeing Defense here, there are plenty of other companies, small to medium-sized companies, that could grow out of the aviation, aerospace, life sciences, and all the other targets. And I wanted to leave plenty of time for any questions you might have. That's why we're presenting tonight in the workshop, and I've got a great team behind me that will be happy to help me answer any questions you may have. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple of questions. Thank you for your presentation. I know it's that time of the year again, and I have a couple of questions and concerns. Who did you work with this last year here in Deltona for our economic development strategies? What have we done? Who did you work with in Deltona this year?
Well, we worked with your former economic development director, Jerry, but Jerry is not here anymore.
I understand that.
Yeah, so we sent, the Boyette Strategic Advisors sent questionnaires, so I'm not sure exactly who they work with, but
Okay.
we do have an executive committee position through your funding that controls the governance of our organization, and that is a governance seat like one of 16 that we have, and that is in a very important position, and that is held by the vice mayor.
So, and I want to understand, moving forward with our business with Deltona, because I understand that in the past we've had some growth challenges as far as that goes, but we don't have those barriers. And I know that the majority of the projects that are listed, accomplishments, good for them, is in East Volusia. You know, with some of it being in DeLand, which is still West Volusia. I mean, we're getting warmer, but with the exception, there are a couple of businesses, but, you know, I'm asking for a harder push for Deltona, right? I understand that Deltona now, with the advent of our city manager, serious about business development. We have a commission that is sitting up here that is serious about business development here. And I want to see a push for Deltona. These businesses, I think that my math is pretty correct, that 96% of these businesses are East Volusia. So I'm going to ask you, what are our obstacles here from your working with Deltona, even in the advent of having an economic development person? I know that we don't have one. I get that. I understand that. But I'm asking you what your challenges are and your bar is to push Deltona forward. What has it been? Has it been, because I've heard different things, okay, permitting process or desirability of property or lack of property? What is...
It's really been the lack of product. And you all had
Explain that
plenty,
to our public. I understand what you're talking about. Please explain
So
that.
you have to have an existing building or a shovel-ready site to bring people to Deltona to look at as an option. So, you know, I've just heard there's a 10,000 square foot space. Things like that are very important, but when you had 1 million square feet across from Amazon, we showed that very heavily to high-tech industries, which would have been an excellent site for them, but the product was leased by another firm, and the landlord was was interested in leasing the space. So we could bring in 3 or 4 or 5 high-tech industries, but it's up to the landlord, the owner of the property, who that should be leased to. But when there was product, Deltona was very active as far as visits. So we just need buildings and sites.
So moving forth here, I understand this is a higher level view of what the strategic plan is for Deltona. And I understand, too, though, the role of Team Volusia. I understand it well. You are not our economic development person. You are our economic development team. You work as a larger part. So I understand that. So the question in my constituency, as far as what budgetary concerns are in paying Team Volusia, right, is what is the return on investment, right? Mm-hmm. I see the ones that are up here right now, but moving forward, I want to be able to justify where we are headed, right? And I know that it's been hard, again, without an economic development advisor. But as a part of this body here, I just want to make sure that it is known what the expectation is here, that we have this in place. We do have pockets of developable, and outside the box thinking, I understand that. But I want to make sure that our money is spent well on this. And so I just want to hear updates as far as where we are. I understand that you're kind of stuck with one paddle rowing right now, but I would like to understand what that strategy is moving forward for Deltona. We're unique. We are the highest, but we have smaller marketable areas. I understand that, but we need to capitalize on that, and I want to make sure that we do that. And that's why I asked who had you been working with this year, because you need a liaison here to work with in order to push forth, especially with the development and especially with where we're going with our land use. So keeping that in mind as you move forward, I would really like that addressed.
And I think, I'm sure you'll be looking for an economic development professional, but, you do have a new city manager, and we have been working with the vice mayor at the governance level of the organization.
And so in closing, I just want to make sure that that's what our growth challenge is not marketable product or not enough product.
That is it. Nothing about the city. The commission is, with some of you earlier, you're business friendly. You want business to arrive here, and you will support business. So that's not been there's absolutely no question.
Do you have a working knowledge of who that capital is owned by? Do you have an idea in your working with Deltona who has the monopoly on that land that is kind of locked up right now?
We do.
Is that something that you can discuss?
Yes.
So I'm asking you who has the majority, and the reason I ask you that is because that is part of the strategic plan moving forward, is identifying who that is and who we need to talk to regarding the development of commercial business. Who is the owner of the most of that property?
I would rather I will give you a report of that. Some of the landowners around Halifax Medical Center, Halifax UF, that's a huge portion of land, as well as what's around the Amazon facility and land adjacent to the theater.
So my ask is,
I'm not saying they're locked up. It's just that we have to support them and to develop things.
So here's what my ask is. In working with our city manager in a time-specific manner, sometime within the next 2 weeks, I would like that on paper. I would like to be able to identify who owns that property, what the challenges are with that particular market, and I would like that given to our city manager and made ready for our public so that we can understand what the lay of our land is, as it were, and I would like that identified so that we have a working piece or a working document to refer back to, as it were.
Sure.
Thank you.
And I can assure you that we've been doing this for the City Commission. In 2016, we issued a 63-page report to the City Commission that showed the properties that could be developed. So we are happy to do that.
Thank you, because I would like it, again, updated and identified so that your commission and your staff and your public understands where all of the land lies and how we could perhaps work better with what we have so that we can open our city up to more business development.
Thank you.
If we can please silence cell phones. Vice Mayor Jody Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Keith, for that presentation. I've been to the meetings. If anybody's ever not been to meetings, they are very informative. But mine is just basically echoing, almost like Commissioner McCool. I want more bang for our buck.
Sure.
And we got plenty. There's land. I'd rather have some businesses and now no more housing developments. I think we got enough for them right now. I mean, there's our land all on 415 that they can put businesses. We got all the land by, like you were saying, by the movie theater, by the hospital. We need more businesses to come in. Of course, that'll get, if we get businesses, jobs, but that's also going to probably invite more restaurants to come into our city. So I just want to make sure we're getting more, we want more bang for our buck to justify, to keep spending, to be on teams of things if we're not going to benefit. Because you're right, like she said, a lot of stuff does go to the east side. No offense, but we want some stuff over here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Noren, I think I was the only one on this dais that voted no for the contract when it came up. What was the last successful business that you brought to the city of Deltona?
The second Anaheim facility.
And the one prior to that was the first Amazon, correct? As we
Yes.
saw in the power slide.
Yes.
You mentioned in your slide that cities that don't have an economic developer, that's pretty much what you're here to do, is to help somewhat facilitate some businesses coming to the city. How much do we pay you every year?
58, I don't have the exact.
58,000, roughly?
It depends on your population, so 58,000.
How long have we been doing business with you?
I believe 2011 or 12. I wasn't here. I arrived in 2012.
Say 10 years, just
2011,
to round
yeah.
it up.
But the amount has changed because it's based on population.
So in total, we've received 2 businesses, and you helped with Halifax in about 10 years.
Yeah, and a lot of product development that took a lot of private sector dollars to do the studies of your sites, available sites, as well as potential sites.
Here's the issue I have, right? I know we met right after my vote because I had some concerns. I thought some of those concerns were somewhat addressed, but I haven't seen very much of anything happen. So I still have some concerns, right? I'll give you a great example. Today we're going to be talking about a scholarship program for the future of our kids that costs us about $50,000 a year. Here we're paying Team Volusia $58,000 a year, and we've only seen really 2 returns, you know? And I'm not trying to diminish it. They're very important, but I mean, there was a time you guys wanted to even change your name from Team Volusia to Team Daytona, and I guess you guys ended up doing something to call yourself Team Volusia Greater Daytona Beach Area or whatever it was.
No, we never did that. In 2010, it was proposed that we be called the Metro Daytona.
What I'm trying to say, Mr. Ryan, I don't mean to do. What I'm trying to say is, the next time this comes up, and I'm speaking for myself, not for the rest of the dais, I can't support something if I'm not seeing an actual viable return, especially when I'm hearing demands from my constituency to take away things like a scholarship. I can't say, hey, guys, we're going to continue to push Team Volusia that we've been doing for 11, 12 years, and we've only got 2 things in return. I can't do that, especially when I'm seeing beautiful things coming to Daytona Beach, to the land, to the east side of the county. I mean, I think we've spoken, at least from my understanding, loud and clear, that Deltona wants, we're legitimately open for business, and if we're going to be your partners, we need you to prioritize Deltona a little bit more. That's my 2 cents. Commissioner McCool?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, too. And being brought up, I mean, part of that, the money for Team Volusia, when we talk about that and break down, would pay, at least part of salary for an economic development person. But this is my understanding, and if I'm wrong, correct me. That it is the city's job to have an economic development person, and they work in conjunction with Team Volusia, right? And if I'm trying to get us to where I understand what is the obstacle here, and the obstacle is being said lack of product, and then you fall back to, well, if you have a lack of product, why are you investing in Team Volusia when you don't have anything for them to market? So what I would like to understand, and that's why I asked, to provide a list of the landowners to city manager so that we can determine what we actually have to market. And that is the challenge to understanding our return on investment here, is understanding if I'm not finding that we have to market, then what we have can be marketed by our economic development person, right? So as the mayor said, as Commissioner or Vice Mayor said, I want to see that push for Deltona, because we do have marketable things. I want to see us front and center. No BS. Daytona Beach sells itself. Like it's, wide open for business, or all the other marketing tools that they have. West Volusia out at the airport, I looked at who's marketed out there, Kingspan and a couple of other businesses, right? And I just want to move Deltona forward. I want the commitment to do that. I want to see Deltona's name on more product, right? And if we have even the small amount of product that we have, we need to understand after the fact where it's being marketed at. If you are attending a show, we might not be getting this. This is why I'm bringing it up. You can correct me or your staff, whatever. If you've gone to a show and you've marketed Deltona, we need to understand that so that we can report back to our public. We have to report on the money, the dollars that we're spending. As the mayor said, the vice mayor said, we have challenges as far as that goes, right? So that's what my ask is. Along with the mayor, vice mayor, we need to see Deltona's name in where we have been marketed, right? And I know you send out the big report, but it's not the same as going to these shows that are listed and then coming back and say, hey, Deltona was suggested for this sector or whatever. So I want to see that work product moving forward.
And we can even give you the breakdown of the pipeline. We can't, the projects are code named because of confidentiality.
I understand.
But we're happy to break down all the projects that are in stage 1, 2, 3, 4, so that you have an idea of what we did it on one page of 6 of them, but we have several more projects. And projects, while they may be, Deltona may be suggested and sent information, it's typically a long process. Amazon was 6 years in the making. I'm not suggesting that it's going to take 6 years, but projects, if they're proposed at Deltona site, it's not an immediate decision.
I know, I understand the cycle.
Yes.
I've worked in logistics a long time, 25 years. I understand the sales cycle, right?
Yes.
But progress is incremental, but those increments have to be reported back in a way that we can keep our residents informed, because that is the number one on everybody's lips.
Sure.
Business in Deltona. We're so saturated with residential. We would like to see more commercial, small commercial. I understand these are big grabs. I'm looking at the big grabs here, right? But I'm talking about as far as we have smaller pockets that could be populated with commercial also. So I just want to hear back that we're working that, recognizing Deltona for what it is. I want to understand that we're being marketed in those small markets as well. Not everyone is a Boeing, or not everyone's a Kingspan, not everyone's an Amazon. I just want us to be more cognizant of that. The ROI that we're talking about here is about reporting back to residents too, so that we can tell them, right, this is what we're doing, this is how we're going. So along with what you said, sending that to the city manager to distribute so that we can get it distributed to our public also, along with the development package that I asked, would be amazing. If you can get that done in the next 2 weeks so that I can go back on that. Thank you very much.
Yes, Commissioner.
No dollars for it.
Any other questions from the commission? Go, sir.
Excuse me, Keith.
Thank you. Please, I was going to call my former chair up to try to help. Thank you.
My name's Dwight Durant. I'm owner of Zev Cohen and Associates. We are a engineering and planning and development firm in Ormond Beach. We've been there for almost 50 years now. I've been working in Deltona since Deltona became Deltona. I just wanted to take a couple of minutes. First off, welcome the new city manager. To put a little perspective on it, because I'm a paying customer too. I sit on that side, and I have to answer to my wife, and she's a lot tougher than you guys. When I pay my $10,000 a year to participate in Team Volusia and then give my time of my staff and myself to do that. And the reason I did that is because I have 4 kids and I want them to stay here. There's a time capsule that's going to be opened up in a couple of years. We've got a set of plans for this facility that are going to be open there. I don't know how long y'all have been here, but 25 years ago, there was nothing here. It was pretty poor, to put it. There was no business. I could not bring a Taco Bell here. You know why? Because there's a lot of people who love Taco Bell. Because your workforce leaves at lunchtime, and there's no place for them to get. You want a restaurant, you have to create the businesses. So I would submit to you, you have come a long way. Your questions are very good questions, and they should be asked every single year. We are a metric-oriented organization that we are completely transparent. But we are fishing. It takes a lot of casts to get somebody to bite and come here. There was no product. You didn't have a planning and zoning. You didn't have comp plans. Things were a mess. They're not necessarily a mess now. And you have the opportunity to do that. If you're business friendly, which you are, the process is cumbersome. I will tell you that. I go through it on a day-to-day basis, and so does my staff. But we can get through those things. The biggest thing that they want to hear is that there is a team and that starts with you and the residents that you want them here. I would submit to you that those 1,000 or 1,500 jobs through Amazon, just to 2, if those families are here, they would appreciate the fact that you did invest in the past and now they're here. How many relatives or kids do we have working there that have stayed in this community instead of going someplace else? So not all of the things are metric, but you have come light years with regards to mixing your residential. You were all residential. Port Orange had the same problem. Now you do have businesses that are growing. We're only 12 years old. We're just getting our steam together. Keith is well respected. He's been doing this for a long time. But now he's working for us, and things are starting to move forward. Your codes are being changed, and you are starting to get some momentum. I caution you whatsoever to pump the brakes on that, but you still need to continue. So thank you for your time.
Any other questions from Commission? Commissioner Merkley, you're still on the board? No. Okay. At this time, we're going to go ahead. Thank you, Team Volusia. At this time, we're going to go ahead and call Mr. Colin Basinger and Associates to provide us with an update on the city attorney search.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners. Colin Benzinger and Associates from the east part of the county, Daytona Beach Shores. Right now, I'm not real thrilled with where we are in the city attorney search. We have 3 applicants. 2 are reasonably well qualified, and 1 is a firm. That's not unusual for city attorney searches, quite frankly. We did Ocala a couple of years ago, and we ended up presenting 3 finalists. So only having 3 applicants is not where I want to be. It's not unusual, but we're not quitting here. We want to continue to search. We're going to extend the deadline a couple of weeks see if we get more. We may have to extend it a couple more weeks. One of the things we found over the years, and we're seeing this frankly with a lot of our city manager recruitments as well, is that for some reason, the first time people hear about it, whether you call them, whether you send them an email, whether they read about it in the trade press, they just don't jump right on the opportunity. Sometimes, many times, when you put it out the second time, we get better applicants than we did the first time. So we're going to extend the deadline. At this point, that's not going to impact our schedule. We still plan to keep to the schedule. We'll just have to work a little harder on the background checks to get them done on time. Frankly, city attorneys are difficult recruitments. I mean, that's not an excuse, it's just the fact. City attorneys cannot waive in. I mean, attorneys cannot waive into Florida, like city managers can come from all over the country. City attorneys have to be licensed to practice in Florida, and you're not permitted, there's no reciprocity with any other state. So we're limited to attorneys that are licensed here in Florida. Many of the people that practice municipal law are employed by firms or cities, and there's a certain amount of inertia. Do they want to move? What's the carrot? What's the stick? Or what's the carrot to get them here? Some of them don't want to get involved in the political nature of the job. Reporting to an elected body can be challenging at times. Sometimes from the body, sometimes from the public. But our plan basically is to go back out. We advertised it from 180 to 195. I think we probably should raise that a little bit at the top. It would be less than your prior city attorney was making by far. Even raising it up a few $1,000s. We're thinking in the area of 215 as a top. It doesn't mean you have to pay it. But if you find the right person and you're thrilled with that person, you may want to pay that to get that person. And frankly, we plan to work a little harder than we have. We've talked to county attorneys. I was talking to one today, and he's said to me basically, when he left West Melbourne, they had a heck of a time finding candidates to replace him in West Melbourne. Now, West Melbourne's a lot smaller than Deltona, obviously, but it's just a challenging environment. So that's where we're at. I'll be happy to take any questions you have.
Commissioner McCool, then Commissioner Avila Vasquez.
Okay, so this search, I want to understand that we have had singular attorneys apply, right? 3 singular attorneys?
2 singular attorneys, 1 firm.
Okay.
Small firm.
Okay. So we are recruiting firms?
We are not. We didn't actively solicit firms. The firm submitted a proposal to be your city attorney.
Okay.
It wasn't something we solicited. It was something that happened.
Because I remember before when we did this, that time that we had really good attorney firms come in here and we didn't, choose either one of them, right? Mm-hmm. That we did that. We asked for a firm to come in. Is that no longer an option that we're soliciting Volusia County firms to come in? Because I know this is our charter officer. They have to live within a certain area here, right? So are we soliciting firms at all?
We have not. It wasn't our assignment, but we, can do that. We've done that before. We did it for the city of Naples.
Okay. Let me look around the room here and ask. I'm going to ask the city manager. I know that he's a charter officer also, but I want to understand this, sir. Is it our goal? Was it in our purview to solicit firms also to see what they had to offer? Or what is your recommendation as our city manager? And I understand the division of the 2 charter officers, but as our city manager, I'm asking you, if we only have this, because now we're going to be between a rock and a hard place here. We've had a long time to think about this. I want to understand what it is we're doing, sir, to get to where we need to be as far as this. What would be your advice? I know that you have I know that we have set the parameters here, but that is short-sighted at this juncture, I think, if we're not soliciting firms also, because that's what we did. When we did this independently before, we solicited firms. So now with this information here we are, you know, going to have to make some unpopular decisions. Sir, what is your recommendation?
We discussed earlier today as a staff of not getting caught in the lurch and having some temporary legal as we need them. Obviously, during meetings, the attorney does not have to be here. Talking about land development code and some planning and zoning administration, we will probably need to have somebody. So we're looking for a transition knowing that there might be just a gap. So we're not saying we're going from one right to the next person. So we'll be taking care of that and bringing that to the commission. Personally, my experience is having someone in-house is a lot better than having someone who's working for a firm who's doing a lot more work than just working for the city. As Colin mentioned about going out a second time, part of the second time also the benefit, and I think Colin and I talked about this once before, was a lot of people hold off because once you put your name out in public, your name's out in public. And when they open it up a second time, it shows that most likely there's not an in-house person or a set person for that gig, which does open up the door for a lot more potential candidates. But if the commission wants to open up full firm, of course, that will change drastically your price, and it's up to the commission, because I believe the price before our current attorney was $900,000, $800,000 a year for the firm, and now we're down to $350 now, $400. So if we can get somebody in-house, I believe that would be your ideal situation. But if we can't find somebody that's interested, obviously the firm would be the way to go. But in the meantime, staff will figure out a way to have a transition so we're not caught in the lurch at any time.
Do we have a recommendation to move forth with these applicants to at least start a process to eliminate or to entertain that notion? Do we have that, or are you trying to wait? Because again, here we are with limited options on a movement here on that, and I just want to understand what the best viable path forward is.
We are not waiting. We're actually starting to screen the candidates we have. But we're trying to find more candidates to supplement what we have.
Am I to understand that we can move forward as possibly as quickly as when, sir, to look at these candidates?
I don't have the skill in front of me, but I think what we were looking at was the middle of October to do city attorney interviews.
Okay.
Commissioner Avila Vasquez, and then Vice Mayor Jody Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. Some of the questions I had were asked by Commissioner McCool, which was at what point can we review the resumes of whoever you have right now? And my other question is, as a charter officer, don't the commissioners make an decision or let you know what we're looking for?
Yes.
And when did that happen?
I'm waiting.
Because I don't remember discovery for the this new lawyer, or if we're looking for in-house, out-house, or if we were looking for a firm.
Quite frankly, it did not happen. We were trying to rush to try and satisfy the deadline for when your current city attorney was leaving. So I worked with staff on this, but I can certainly call you tomorrow and start talking to you about what you're looking for in salary and such. I think I have a good idea, but I could be wrong, you know.
Okay, I appreciate that. All right, thank you. Again, like I said, some of my questions were already asked by Commissioner McCool.
Vice Mayor Jody Lee.
When we had our workshop, or we brought this up before, I thought we discussed getting firms and single and in-house. We were going to get both, and we were going to choose. That's what we all discussed when this came up. But this is the first we're hearing of it since. But like the other thing is with the pay that was put out of $190,000, I'm curious who came up with that pay.
It was our conversation with city staff, with Doc, and,
Yeah.
The only person they pay for the attorney would be us.
okay?
There's nobody in this building that can make that decision except for us.
You're
So
correct.
if they put it out, that starts to come here. But when we originally brought this all up, it was we were going to get both. We were going to get some firms and in-house attorneys, and we were going to make a decision and compare them amongst conversations that we were going to have. That's what was left. And it has been, this is the first time it's been brought up. And now we're in a pinch because her last day is at the end of this month. And now it's up to us what we're going to have for an attorney. You know, I keep hearing people say we're going to bring someone in temporary. That's still our decision. So that's what we have to figure out. Well, we got to get this going.
Commissioner McCool?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I mean, absolutely. That's why I'm like confused, because I thought that that's like what we put forth. So I guess what my recommendation or whatever is, first of all, that we be updated on the candidates, right? I asked for direction from the city manager because the city manager would understand at this juncture what projects are moving forward, right? Or we should be supplied with that. What projects are being moved forward where we have to have an attorney involved? We need to understand that preemptively. That would be my ask, right? I asked for firms because an attorney charges an attorney's hourly fee. Okay, but at that same juncture, you're not going to have 4 attorneys working on the same thing, right? You need one attorney that's working on whatever the subject matter is, and that's why I was happy with having a firm, right? If it's land use, you have your land use attorney billing you per hour, da-da-da-da-da. We're still going to have to, without a firm, we're still going to have to sub out work. If we get an in-house attorney, there is not one attorney that specializes in all the things that we need. We have workers' comp, we have ADA, we have building, we have a lot. So that is my concern about having a singular in-house attorney. That's just my concern. But we need immediately brought forth to this commission a position paper or position on where we're at. I would like to understand in the next 90 days, Mr. City Manager, what your concerns are, right? What might be coming up on agenda where we would need an attorney present. If it's something that we can postpone, right? Or if it's something, I need it prioritized by you is what I'm saying. Okay, that's what I'm asking for. So that we can have time where and put to bed immediately things that need to be immediately finished up before the exit of the attorney's contract, so that we're not held hostage to paying out a sum of money, right, on something that we need to get completed. So that, as a commissioner, is my priority, is understanding what we have hanging out there. And I would like that done pretty quickly and reported back to the commission. Second of all, I would like, as a commissioner, to state that I wanted to see firms and private attorneys come forth, right? And then I would like to see a salary survey come from you, because that's your specialty. So I would like a salary survey sent in. And when we compare apples, I want apples to apples, municipality size, that kind of thing. If you can provide that to us sometime in the next week, 7 days, 7 business days.
We can try. I think that's definitely doable.
Okay, that's fine, but I would like that sent to us. So those are my two asks, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission, in moving forth on that. So if we could do that, that would be great. Because I'm not trying to make a decision without being armed with the information as far as that goes. Thank you.
Commissioner Avila Vasquez.
Thank you, Mayor. I think my question is the same as yours, Commissioner McCool. Can we get a list of outstanding cases? Thank you.
Vice Mayor, do you have anything else? Any other questions from the dais? No? All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank you, and, I'll give you all a call tomorrow, and we talk further about it. Well, actually, I've got my 2 kids in town tomorrow, so maybe the next day, if that's all right. Thank you.
Thank you. This time, we're going to go ahead and go into discussion regarding the William S. Harvey Deltona Scholarship Advisory Board. And I believe, who are you?
Pretty sure so. So good evening, Commissioners, Mayor, and welcome to the new City Manager, Doc. Thank you for joining us. I am Dr. Christina Raimundo, a proud resident of Deltona and the current William S. Harvey Deltona Scholarship Committee Chairperson. I'm here to provide insight and bring clarity to the scholarship process. Any decisions regarding the scholarship funding moving forward solely rest with you, the Commission. The committee is comprised of 7 members who are appointed by each of the commissioners and the mayor to serve a 24-month period and can be reappointed to serve additional terms. We meet once a year around the March-April timeframe to officially rank the applicants and discuss any suggested recommendations related to the scholarship review process and to tighten and have clarity for the students, the applicants themselves. The city liaison emails the committee members when applications for review are ready, and we have about a 2 to 3 week period, a window in which we individually score the applications based on 4 criteria, which is also delineated and explained, and it goes in depth in the application that are in the back, if anyone wants to reference that. Those criterion are financial need, scholastic achievements, participation in academic and community organizations and programs, and composition. The students are also tested in the sense of giving their point of view through composition, what this scholarship would mean to them. It is scored on a 100-point scale. And again, if anyone wants more in-depth about that, refer to the application, or I can answer some questions on that. The committee members do not speak with each other prior to, nor do we confer with commissioners about the ranking process, nor the specific applicants. The selection process is strictly based on the criteria. Demographic information is not a consideration when awarding scholarships. We do not consider the applicant's gender, religion, ethnicity, etc. If members of the committee know any of the applicants or are friends of the family, they recuse themselves. And this, what happens at that point is that, in other words, the student is now ranked out of 6 participants, 6 committee members versus 7. So their ranking is a little different. All applicants must be City of Deltona students, residents. It's the first line or second line, I believe, in our application. They must attend the following schools: Pine Ridge, Deltona University, Trinity Christian Academy, or DeLand High School. And I know you say DeLand High School. It's in DeLand. We understand that. But DeLand High School allows our students from the Deltona area to attend their IB program, which our area high schools does not have. So therefore, that is the exception there. The applicants must provide state ID, driver's licenses, sealed copies of their high school or college transcripts, GED scores, copies of their most recent standardized test scores. They have to also give us copies of their FAFSA or their FSAR, which is their Federal Student Aid Report, and complete income tax information. This more than enough establishes that they must be Deltona residents. We do not award scholarships to students who do not reside in Deltona, period. It just doesn't happen. At the ranking meeting, each committee member provides the total number of points they awarded the applicant out of that 100 scale to the city liaison, who enters it into a spreadsheet. Once the ranking process is completed, the city liaison sorts the information ranking order from highest to lowest, and the applicants then, what we do as from highest to lowest, the committee then, by the language of the bylaws, begin awarding dollar amounts from $3,000 being the highest to $1,000 being the lowest until the given dollar amount is spent. Again, the ranking is based on only the final tally of points. When students score within 0.1% of each other, then the same dollar amount is awarded to both students. Final ranking sheets and applications are collected and kept by City Hall, so we don't see those after we are completed with that session of ranking. Everything is collected, it is kept by the city liaison, so we ourselves do not know the names of the students again until the night if we decide to come and see them being presented here at the City Commission. We don't have ways of calling them, we don't have their addresses, so the committee's work is done and it all falls then on the commission and the city liaison from that point. The final number of applicants is shared at the very next City Commission meeting, and once the commission approves the list of applicants, the letter of acceptance and accompanying forms are sent to the applicant. They have a 30-day window in which to return the forms. If they fail to return the forms, the dollars and cents stay right here in the City of Deltona's Finance Department. The funds are not given to students directly. When we go to their award ceremony, it's strictly that. It's a ceremonial envelope to let them know, congratulations from your city. The funding itself is directly mailed to the chosen school's financial aid office. These includes Florida colleges, trade schools, and Florida universities. All unused funds must be returned to the City of Deltona Finance Department, along with a copy of the Social Security number. There's a form that has to come with that, and a letter informing the city of the reason why, the rationale. Why is it being returned? And as per the City Commission decision of 2007, recipients can receive this scholarship 2 times and must complete both times all sections and attach copies of all documents as proof of enrollment and residence in Deltona. Incomplete applications are not considered. And the application clearly states this is something that the committee was adamant about, ensuring that throughout the process, because when a lot of us have sat on this committee for many years, I myself, since 2013. And an educator of 22 years. So this is near and dear to my heart, and we want to make sure that the students have the ability to complete the process and not be disqualified because they're missing something. So we have checklists on several pages. We have written specifically, pay attention to detail. We tell them the deadline. It's highlighted, it's bolded, sometimes both. And there is a statement that clearly reads, and you can all see that in the application itself, that clearly states to please make sure that you check the checklist, that you double check. There's even a proofreading that we asked to have added to the application this year, because we noted if these students are supposed to be top-notch and they're getting a scholarship and it is meaningful that it's coming from the city of Deltona, the city they live in, we want to make sure that they have the aptitude, that they're taken seriously, and that the composition that they're putting forth expresses themselves to the committee not only, but also this is the way you're going to write moving forward when you get to college. And so therefore, we've even added a proofreading checklist for them to make sure I have checked everything here, I've done the 500 to 700 words, I have made sure that I stuck to the topic, I have the right number of paragraphs. This committee is committed to making sure that the quality and the reason why this is being presented to these applicants and given is not only that criteria, but that they understand the city of Deltona is behind you. And that's why we as a committee feel that the application process is more than fair. It stays here in the city of Deltona, and we do not consider anyone that is not one of our residents. That's it.
Is there any questions from any of the commission? Commissioner McCool?
Dr. Raimondo, you are a respected educator and have been for 20-plus years in this community, Central Florida-wise. You've been recognized for your work. I thank you for being here today to explain this process. I believe that there was some confusion regarding residency requirements, and you may or may not want to answer this. I would like for you to, but I would like you to understand, I would like to understand for you as an educator in the city of Deltona why this scholarship is important and why it is so important for the city of Deltona, if you think it is, to continue sponsoring this, again, as an educator and a respected doctor in that area.
I'm going to tell you, instead of opining, giving my opinion, I'm going to give it to you from what I've read from the students, because their voices speak louder than what my opinion could ever mean. We read hundreds of these over since 2013, and the committee members read them on a constant basis. We go through all their compositions. I'm going to tell you that for a lot of them, they answer that this is life-changing for some of them. Some of them cannot afford the college tuition. They can't buy their own books. They're single, they come from single families. For some of them, they're the first child that is going to college. And a lot of them write that the hope is that this will change not only their life, give them a footing into something that's going to change the future of their families and themselves, but they also all say, coming back to the city that gave them something, a dream to believe in. The city of Deltona gives them that when this is awarded. And you see how elated they are to receive this award. They wear this as a symbol of pride, a badge, that my community is sending me forth to do great things. And I will come back and I will give back to the city in whatever capacity, whether it's engineering, whether it's medical, whether it's just, you know, we're going to come home and open up my own business, whether it's from home, whether it's down the street. I want to be a police officer, a firefighter. Whatever it might be, they come and this is what they express through their words, through their stories. And that for me, as an educator, if I had to say anything, that's near and dear to my heart, because we cultivate each and every single student. We want the best for them. And I believe in that community, and community really supports our children.
Thank you, Dr. Raimondo. And to that, I would add this, that I have taken a very hard stance on this. I'm very open-minded regarding community partners. I know that someone was told that that I had told Rotary not to help out with this, and that there's no way that I would have ever said that. I would challenge you to ask any Rotarian that is involved with this that I ever said that I wouldn't support somebody helping with these funds. And I would like to also ask that we try to find a way that we continue to support these kids, because this is an investment in our future. And I understand people's hard line on this. It's taxpayer money. I understand that, but it's $50,000. I know that for a city of our size and with a community of our size, and to a lot of people that sounds like a lot of money, but I don't believe that it is wasted money. So that I would ask those hardliners on this to have a little bit more compassion as far as the reasoning why the city continues to support this, because it is important to our community that we have well-educated kids. So I'm going to leave that at that, and I appreciate your time, Dr. Raimondo.
Thank you.
Commissioner Vila-Vasquez.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Dr. Raimondo, for coming out, taking the time to come speak to us and our residents regarding the scholarship. I just want to say that even our firefighters must go to college and complete some courses in order to get promotions and stuff like that. So that's something that it's important to us. You said the max is $3,000 per student?
That was as of the application that we have, and that's what's written in there. I know that we had, as a whole committee, we did make a bold ask, but we don't have that as of yet, obviously, with funding, and we understand that. We wanted to make this even grander for the students. We want them to show, to them to understand that their city really supports them. And so we were trying to change from a $3,000 that was in the old application to a $5,000 scholarship. Because when we go to the scholarship nights, we compete with people that are giving out $50,000, $40,000, $20,000 scholarships. And then the city, we understand it's a city, we get it. But giving them just that $3,000, when they see that $5,000, we have a lot more kids, a bigger pool of kids that are fighting for this scholarship. We have a lot more students that are really saying, wow, my city does care, I'm going to apply. And so it's meaningful. The cost of education is going up. And when we give them the $3,000, some of them even say that's only for the books. Some of them can't still meet the tuition payment that at the end, if they don't receive enough from FAFSA or they don't get Bright Futures or another scholarship, it's coming out of somewhere. Where for a lot of them, then it's that idea, well, since I can't go and it didn't cover much, these funds do return then to the city's finance department.
And that was going to be my next question. How far to go with those $3,000 in college? How far does it take him as far as?
It depends on the institution that they decide to apply to, and if they have any other scholarships, if they have any other type of money that is being pulled together. I couldn't tell you because it depends also what it is.
What does it do for them? How much of it can be spent on books or on?
The money is sent to their financial aid office of their school, and so whatever they need to spend, it could be on a course, it could be to cover the tuition. If there's anything left over, depending again on the dollars and cents that they do receive, I'm not sure if they could use that for books, but sometimes there are some things that can be shifted around, but I'm not the FAFSA or federal aid expert on that, but I can tell you that it goes directly to their financial aid
Right,
office.
because I can tell you that I used to, the organization I used to be with, we gave $500, that's all we could afford, to all of our high school graduates, and all it could do was help them with buying books. That's all they can do with that little amount. But again, thank you for coming out, Dr. Raimundo, and we appreciate it.
I just want to leave you with a couple of stats, and this is something to be proud of. Doesn't matter which way you well, it does matter which way you decide. But, and this is not what I mean, is that this is not to sway you any which way. But the city of Deltona has given out approximately 350 scholarships, and it's been awarded to 298 students. The city has approximately given out, since 2008, $551,500 in scholarships, and that's made a difference to those 298. I can't tell you they probably have graduated, they're here, they probably stay here. I don't know. They probably encourage their own children as they grow older to apply to this because it made a difference for them. Again, I thank you for the time and for inviting me this evening and giving me an opportunity to speak to something that I know the whole committee, and I say this even though we don't confer with each other, we are very proud to serve on this board because it is impacting the future. So we thank you.
Is there any other questions from the commission? No. Thank you, Dr. Raimundo. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. This time we're going to go into public comment.
Terry Ellis, please.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to bring up all your comments about Team Volusia. I was really happy to hear that. A few months, maybe about 2 months ago, I think I sent everyone on the commission a report from Volusia County and their Economic Development Department, and it brings up the number of people that come into our city to work versus the number of people that go out of our city to work. And in looking at that, of course, Deltona has the highest number, the highest percentage of people that are leaving Deltona in order to go to work. And I was, as you know, I was really very disappointed with the Team Volusia presentation, because I thought, you know, that's all great that you're bringing these organizations here, but part of what you have, the reason that you can do that is because you have a workforce here in Deltona. And with so many people leaving, like 38,000, over 38,000 people from 2 years ago. And so they can do that. So I was very happy to hear that you're taking them to task, because quite frankly, I haven't seen where it's been we haven't got the return on investment. Second of all, about the scholarships, I'll say this really quick, is my concern, and I haven't looked at the process, but my concern is that we're giving money to kids that are at the top of the achievement rung, and what other scholarships do they have? And looking at the Bright Future scholarships, I know that pays for quite a bit. So I would just want us to consider how much money these students have, and are we just further adding to the pot of kids that are already very accomplished? That's the only thing that I would ask to consider, and maybe it is, maybe I've just missed it, but I just wanted to bring that up. Thank you very much.
Brandy White, please.
Brandy White, Deltona. Since there's only 2 minutes, I'm not going to hit on city manager. I feel the frustrations. I'm just going to shake my head on that too. So I'm going to focus on Team Volusia. I had about 5 or 6 questions. Dana, I believe you asked for the update on the 22 site analysis that we had in 2016, 2017, and where are we 7 to 8 years later? How many of those sites are still available? If you get that, if you could share that, I appreciate it. Also, I noticed there was 40 proposals since 2019. That's 10 a year. But how many actually happened? And those 40 were listed under Deltona, so we're not talking grand scheme here, but in Deltona, out of those 40 since 2019, how many happened? I think we only heard about 2. What I did notice that really stood out is when the stages were put up there. We never made it to stage 5. None of them. It was a big 0. We only got 1 to stage 4. So I'm glad you asked the question on why we're having such a hard time reaching that stage 5. And if we don't have the product, why are we still wasting our money? We can still market those in other ways without spending $50K. There's another one. 54 projects since 2013 in total were completed by this company. How many were in Deltona since 2013? Again, I believe the answer came to 2, and those were recent. And I believe the last statement and question I had on the land use map. Nope, I asked that one. That's it. I just have a lot of questions on the cost effectiveness of this. If we don't have the product, there's nothing to market. And we're hearing that from their own mouth. We don't have product. So why are we still paying them to push product we don't have? Thanks.
Courtney Kressburgers, please.
Good evening. Doc, thank you for answering my email. It's appreciated. I had 2 things. One about the attorney. I also was at the workshop or meeting, whichever it was, that I thought that you guys had said you were going to look into both, having an outside firm or an in-house attorney, and figuring out which is more economical for us. And I'm really concerned at this point, and no offense to you, Doc, but I don't want it to get back to the way it was with the city manager, that we ran out of time, we got down to the last 2 applicants, and everybody was like, well, we got to take what we can get. Let's, again, no offense. We need to have our pick of the litter. You know, we need to have some options here, not just whoever we end up with by the time it's time that we have to. The other thing with the scholarships, I've got nothing against scholarships. I just don't think at this point the residents should be paying for it. I think there's other avenues that we can look into. We can do fundraising. Unfortunately, Dr. Amunda said it herself, that there's lots of other scholarships out there for 50, 60, 40, whatever. They have all those monies out there. And when we're running in the black and we're flush, then I would revisit it. But right now, I still think that there should be other options available to fund it for students. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Tara DiErico.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Tara DiErico, District 3. First, for Team Volusia, just In addition to what was already said, my only other ask would be, it seems like it's being focused on areas for new development, and just wondering if there's an opportunity to leverage them for a lot of the areas we have potentially for redevelopment. Since we are running out of valid and available commercial space, that may be an avenue too. Second is regarding the city attorney. So we heard, and I may not be 100% right, so if I'm a little off, apologies right now, but when we had a firm, we were at about $900,000, $1 million. We changed that, right? We went down to just having an individual attorney, Marcia, and that was about between $350,000 and $400,000 a year. So do we have an opportunity here to continue to being cost effective and by going to an in-house attorney? I just, from what I'm hearing and from what I'm seeing, having a firm is going to cost a lot more, and it's one thing if they can handle everything we do, but even when we had a firm, we still had to consult and get outside attorneys at an additional cost to cover a lot of the unique situations that we had. So a couple of benefits for an in-house attorney is hire them at a flat salary, no overtime. So you know what you're dealing with every year. You don't have to play the budget game. What's it going to be? There's no division of their attention, no competing priorities. They work for the city of Deltona and Deltona only, so they could solely focus on the city of Deltona. And it also provides consistency in our representation. If it's not a firm, we have the same attorney time over time that gets to know the city, gets to know our processes, and therefore can provide a better consistency in services. That's all I had. Appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Christian O'Brien.
Your mic is off.
Okay, I want to play. I want to play devil's advocate here a little bit, just in terms of.
Is the light off?
Oh, is the mute button?
There it is. Oh, yeah, here we go. So I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit with the scholarship, just for the sake of discourse, because that's what we need nowadays. I threw a post actually on Facebook about like if there were maybe alternatives that could be done. You know, as a city, we really want to invest in education. One of the things I always hear a lot about, especially with our teachers, is how much out of pocket they spend on school supplies and things like that. So I had a brainstorm about whether or not we could kind of be able to maybe like, there's three things we can do with the scholarship: keep it, cut it, or reallocate the money, essentially. I threw some posts out there about reallocating it. I thought maybe like, you know, having a reimbursement for some teachers that do out of pocket and things like that. Long story short, nobody wanted to really hear for that. The consensus I got was the city is actually pretty supportive of the scholarship. However, taxes keep going up. You know, we're all getting those notices with the proposed budget. Taxes are going to go up. The data that the city manager provided about the millage rate in last week's meeting, you know, said that if we roll the millage rate back, we're going to be in the red about $1 million. However, if we make cuts for $1 million, we can roll the millage rate back, right? So the conversation that we have to continue to have is where are those cuts actually be made? Now, I think the consensus is generally that we all would love to keep the scholarship. We all would, and I think it's a wonderful thing for the city. However, where are the cuts going to get made? So it's a conversation that we have to continue having. If they don't get cut here, then just where is it going to go from there? So hopefully you guys can figure that out. I hope it gets approved, though.
Gloria Ford, please.
This 2 minutes is going to go fast. It always does. Okay, so I'm here to talk about the scholarship, and I appreciate you want the scholarship, Dana. You've made no bones about it. Last commission meeting, you said that you feel passionate about it, and I will vote yes on things I'm passionate about. I heard you say that at the last meeting, and I understand that. But that involves us, taxpayers, paying that. And Is it the will of your constituents? Because I'm not hearing that they are for this. I am hearing that they want lower taxes, and like the speaker before me, we need to make cuts. So we have a city manager who promised to zero out the budgets of every department, but didn't. That was, and it's on tape during his interview. I hope he can fulfill that promise, because right now I don't see him going in that direction. I don't think we need to be blaming big government for the rising costs of everything when you can control this at the local level for us. It is your job to be the gatekeepers for us. He may be in charge of requesting funds, but you are the gatekeepers. Now, if we have to cut this, because I remember several years ago, people were coming to the commission asking for money to send a baseball team here to represent or there. They did it at the county level and to city level. And we said, we just don't have the money for it, so there was a cutoff, and they didn't do it anymore. This is similar. Boy Scouts raise money for their Eagle projects. Everybody raises.
Elba Bryan, please.
The money. Rotary Club, raise money.
Albert Bryan, Deltona. I think there needs to be a correction here, because under the charter, it says, the city attorney or his designee shall attend every commission meeting unless excused in a prior meeting. Was she excused last meeting? I don't remember so. Now, I was here for the consensus vote. Oh, that's right, I'm here every meeting. When y'all took that consensus vote, y'all asked for the firms and in-house. You didn't designate how much you were going to pay them. That was nowhere in the discussion at all during that. Yeah, when Mr. Basinger walked outside and I asked him, who told you how to look for these attorneys? He said the city manager told him that. Why is the city manager only telling half the story that y'all actually took a vote on? You gave him direction. Is he not hearing properly? Because this is at least the third time now that I've seen that he's changed what y'all took a consensus on. Last I heard, that was insubordination. There's a problem here. A real problem. Because you gave consensus to look for an attorney. Tonight, he told you that attorney didn't have to be in here, going against your charter. The charter that the citizens actually voted on. Oh, that's right, 2 years ago, we changed some of this. And some of that is in here now. Remember that, folks.
Thank you, sir. Come on. Tim Blodgett, please.
You want to put the hand? Very good. I wore my braid tonight. Don't worry, it's above your pay grade. I'll tell you about it later if you wish. Okay. School scholarship. This was supposed to be a stopgap. It's not even a want anymore. It's a gimme. How do we put this? If you go on to a 1040 when you go to do your taxes, you have two categories. One of them is for charity, and another one is for taxes from a municipality. So what is this? Is it a tax, or is it a charity? I don't recall any charity stealing money out of my pocket without my permission, and that's exactly what you people are doing. Now, we got one clown up there who keeps on saying, it's only 50 cents.
Sir, no personal attacks, please.
Why not? She personally attacked me through my wife last time. Bully. Anyway, where was I? So what we're doing is we're charging the people for a charity. I don't believe that's legal. If you take a look at the total dollar amount, 50 grand, I think the IRS would have an issue with that because you're essentially changing the category and you're cheating them out of money. But we can always call them and find out. You guys seem to not take any hints and you prefer to have fines from the IRS anyway. Anyway, anything else in here? That's pretty much it. I've told you guys everything from before. Apparently, you've decided to change everything that I've said into some other fantasy that you want to make it into. You need to go to a system.
Thank you, sir.
of
Mayor,
donating.
that closes public comments.
This time, we're going to go ahead and go into city manager comments.
Nothing this evening, Mayor. Just a lot of misinformation again was stated here this evening, so nothing further. Thank you.
Workshop's adjourned.